Today on the Daily Scoop podcast from the Scoop News Group, intelligence officials expect more foreign influence efforts leading up to Election Day. And DHS takes the next step on research into algorithms and violent online content. It's Monday, September 9th, 2024. Welcome to the Daily Scoop podcast, where you'll hear the latest news and trends facing government leaders. I'm the host of the Daily Scoop podcast, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining me. Here are today's top headlines. Intelligence community officials said Friday they expect Russia, Iran, and China to increase the cadence of influence operations targeting U.S. voters over the final 2 months of the 2024 election cycle. The assessment comes after a whirlwind month where U.S. officials accused Iran of engaging in a hack-and-leak operation targeting the presidential campaign of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, and this week imposed indictments, seizures, and economic sanctions on Russian government officials and members of the state media organization RT for a $10 million scheme to covertly launder pro-Russian propaganda through the right-wing media outfit Tenet Media, and popular conservative influencers. But officials at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence told reporters Friday that they continue to view these activities as forms of election influence as opposed to direct attempts to interfere with or disrupt voting and election infrastructure. They emphasized that assessment could change in the final stages of the election. An ODNI official said the agency is particularly monitoring for any activities that could enable election interference, especially cyber or physical disruptions of election infrastructure. A second ODNI official said that election leads at multiple agencies now meet twice a week to review intelligence and evaluate the need for non-public and public notifications around emergent foreign influence campaigns. They have also engaged in an active cadence of non-public notifications and briefings to members of Congress, political committees, and state and local officials. Briefings were also offered to both presidential campaigns, but the officials declined to say whether those offers were accepted. According to officials, Moscow is increasingly leveraging third-party entities, including commercial public relations firms, state-run media organs, and American influencers to inject Russia-friendly narratives into the U.S. political bloodstream while trying to mask the content in authentic Americans' free speech. In other news, the Department of Homeland Security's Science and Technology Directorate plans to award a contract to the nonprofit Open Mind for research and development related services meant to curb online content related to violent extremism. The agreement comes as part of the U.S. government's work in response to the Christchurch call, which the Biden administration joined in 2021. That initiative, which brings together technology platforms and government leaders, was formed following the 2019 mass shooting in Christchurch, New Zealand, that killed 51 people. The killer targeted 2 mosques and live-streamed the shootings on the internet. Since the signing of that agreement, governments and online content providers who've signed on to the call have increased their focus on the role of algorithms on the internet, according to a posting calling the pact the Christchurch Call Initiative on Algorithmic Outcomes. The new contract will aid the Science and Technology Directorate's work on the initiative by having Open Mind build a platform based on privacy-enhancing technologies. Once tested, replicated, and validated, those technologies would form the basis for an infrastructure to support independent study of impacts of algorithms and their interactions with users, including across multiple platforms and types of platforms, and would dramatically lower the barriers to doing this work without accessing those underlying data and systems. Open Mind's work is centered on privacy-focused open-source tools, particularly for non-public data. According to its website, the group has backers that include Meta, the UK government, and the National Institute of Standards and Technology's AI Safety Institute. For more news at the intersection of the federal government and technology, visit fedscoop.com. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Daily Scoop podcast, available on all podcast platforms. If you've already rated the podcast on your platform of choice, thanks so much. High ratings and good reviews of the show help more people to find it. The Daily Scoop podcast is a production of the Scoop News Group in Washington, D.C. Adam Butler and Carlin Fisher help put the show together, and the entire Scoop News Group team contributes. We'll be back tomorrow with more top headlines. Until then, I'm your host, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for listening.